Rohanthi Wijawikrama. Busy Mom's Guide to 10-Minute Tidy Up. Quick Cleaning Routines for Busy Days. Copyright 2024 by Rohanthi. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, stored or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, scanning, or otherwise without written permission from the publisher. It is illegal to copy this book, post it to a website, or distribute it by any other means without permission. Designations used by companies to distinguish their products are often claimed as trademarks. All brand names and product names used in this book and on its cover are trade names, service marks, trademarks, and registered trademarks of their respective owners. The publishers and the book are not associated with any product or vendor mentioned in this book. None of the companies referenced within the book have endorsed the book. Some of the content has been generated with the use of artificial intelligence. First edition. This book was professionally typeset on Reedsy. Find out more at reedsy.com. Contents. 1. The realization. 2. The art of letting go. 3. Compromise. 4. The benefits. 5. Here's how Jane did it, the planning. 6. Here's how Jane did it, creating your tidy up toolkit. 7. Here's how Jane did it, creating a cleaning schedule. 8. Here's how Jane did it, daily planner and scheduling. 9. Here's how Jane did it, the morning routine. 10. Here's how Jane did it, midday refresh energizing your space. 11. Here's how Jane did it, evening wind down preparing for relaxation. 12. Here's how Jane did it, weekend warrior deeper cleaning in short bursts. 13. Here's how Jane did it, prioritizing tasks for a successful weekend cleaning routine. 14. Here's how Jane did it, workday warrior. 15. Breaking bad habits and establishing new ones. 16. Embracing the power of quick cleaning. Also by Rohanthi. Chapter 1. The realization. On a normal Friday afternoon, Jane had just got home from work, feeling overburdened and drained by everything she needed to get done. She was a little let down by the chaos that met her eyes as soon as she entered her compact yet comfortable flat. There are toys everywhere on the floor, papers all over the coffee table, clothes all over the couch, and dishes piling up in the sink. She tried her hardest to keep up with the clutter, but it felt impossible. Not only did she have to prepare dinner, pick up her kids' schoolwork, and do laundry, but she also felt guilty and depressed about letting go of this chapter in her life. She also felt she was taken for granted by her family for not picking up the slack. But she knew that it was ultimately her fault for not installing good habits. Then, though, she recalled the 10-minute tidy up. She'd seen this method in a magazine article and had been wanting to give it a try. She let out a resigned sigh, set a 10-minute timer, and got to work on the mess in front of her while still wearing her work clothes. How much she managed to get done in such a short period of time was astounding. She cleaned the dishes, put the toys away, folded and tucked in her clothes, and went through her papers, throwing out the ones she didn't need. Relieved and feeling accomplished, Jane stepped back as the timer went off, surveying her now tidy abode. Though it wasn't flawless, it was unquestionably superior. At last, she felt content and well organized in her home, which made her grin. Jane adopted the 10-minute tidy up as part of her everyday regimen after that. Even though she wasn't always motivated to do it, she knew that those 10 minutes would ultimately make all the difference in the world. Jane couldn't believe the difference the 10-minute tidy up had made in her life. Not only was her home more organized, but she also felt less worried and more in control of her life. She quit being depressed and quit screaming at her family whenever they went by. It was as though she had found an undiscovered weapon to use in the continuous conflict with chaos. She told her friends and colleagues about her new strategy, and they were all surprised at how something as easy as 10 minutes could have such a significant impact. A few of them even began putting it into practice themselves, reporting back on comparable achievements and thanking her for the advice. However, several people remained doubtful. Among them was Sarah, Jane's roommate from college. She laughed at the notion, saying that with just 10 minutes, no meaningful progress could be made. Determined to prove Sarah wrong, Jane challenged her to try the 10-minute tidy-up for 1 week. If she still didn't see any improvement, then she could go back to living in chaos. Jane wasn't expecting Sarah to accept the challenge, and she became a believer in just 1 week. She acknowledged that she was less stressed by clutter, and that she couldn't ignore the obvious changes in her house. She said, "I feel happier when I go home." The family's improved sense of harmony coincided with Jane's redesigned room. They all started doing the 10-minute tidy-up every day, and the incessant arguing about messes and cleaning schedules stopped. As news of this amazing method spread, Jane made the decision to launch a blog where she shared her experiences using the 10-minute tidy-up. It quickly attracted a following of people who were excited to share their own triumphs and advice on how to finish various areas of their homes in 10 minutes or less. Jane even had notes from readers thanking her for making housekeeping easier to handle while dealing with melancholy or chronic sickness, or for helping them get over their hoarding tendencies. The way something so insignificant could have such a profound effect on people's lives astounded me. It also reminded Jane that sometimes even the tiniest action can have a significant effect. Chapter 2. The Art of Letting Go. Jane had always wanted to be neat, but she had never gotten around to doing it. She loved to watch makeover shows, and enjoyed arranging everything in the right places. When she started the 10-minute tidy-up, she realized she was struggling with one particular area, letting go of control. Every day for 10 minutes, she would go through her house and find items that she no longer needed or utilized. Certain pieces were nostalgic and reminded me of past times, while others were just random objects that had accumulated over time. Souvenirs from her trip days, magazines with her favorite article, and baby clothing she can no longer wear. She began to notice that there wasn't enough space for the things she genuinely needed after all of these items took refuge in her home. Jane was unsure about what to do with these objects at first. She felt bad about getting rid of something that had significance in her life before. But as the days passed and the mess kept growing, she came to the realization that in order to create room for the things that really mattered, she had to let go of some things. In the beginning, the process was challenging. Sometimes she would decide to part with something, after holding onto it for an extended period of time. She would occasionally cry as she bid goodbye to particular belongings. But as her house cleared out, Jane gradually began to feel a weight lift off her shoulders. Surprisingly, getting rid of her material possessions also assisted her in releasing the emotional burdens that had been dragging her down. Without all the extra clutter around her, she discovered that her mind was more concentrated and clearer. Rather than being overwhelmed by things she didn't need or use, she was able to enjoy what she already had. Jane also learned how fulfilling it is to give things away to others who could use them rather than just throwing them trash. It not only cut down on waste, but also revitalized items in her house that had been gathering dust. She gathered things she could donate to the thrift store across the street, and packed the outgrown baby clothing in a suitcase for her friend who had recently given birth. However, as Jane carried out the 10-minute tidy-up, she encountered a problem. She found it difficult to part with some treasured objects at this time. She didn't want to part with the memories and significance these items carried for her. At first, Jane struggled with what to do about these items. Should she force herself to get rid of them? Should she keep them and continue adding to the clutter in her home? Then it hit her. Compromise was the answer. Chapter 3. Compromise. Jane realized that she didn't have to completely get rid of these sentimental items. She could compromise by designating a small space in her living room for them. This way, they would still be a part of her life and her home, but they wouldn't contribute to the overall clutter. With this realization, Jane carefully considered which things would go into this allotted place after coming to this insight. She had worn one of the baby blouses when she was a newborn. Therefore, Jane thought of a clever way to display it within a picture frame, together with a photo of her daughter and a photo of herself wearing it. It was a wonderful memento to place on the wall near the rooms. To eventually pass it along to her daughter, Jane also preserved the crystal bowl that her grandmother had given her. Jane also saved the baseball her husband caught at the game he proposed to her. She chose only those things that truly held significant meaning and brought joy into her life. And as she placed them on a shelf or displayed them in a cabinet, she felt a sense of peace and contentment. This compromise not only made other sections of Jane's home less cluttered, but it also made her appreciate these sentimental objects more. They were no longer lost in the confusion of clutter. Instead, they had a designated spot where they could be appreciated and observed. But Jane didn't stop there. She also started implementing other compromises throughout her home. For example, instead of keeping every single piece of artwork or craft project that her children made, she decided to keep just a few favorites and rotate them out every month or so. She also conceded the number of appliances and gadgets she maintained in her kitchen. After taking the appliances she required, she put them away in the cabinets beneath the counter. The kitchen counter now has additional room as a result. In addition, she gave away her extra appliances and put the duplicates up for sale online. These compromises not only helped declutter Jane's home, but also taught her an important lesson. Sometimes you don't have to choose between two extreme options. Sometimes, finding a compromise can create the perfect balance. Jane discovered as she proceeded with her decluttering journey that keeping her home tidy and orderly was frequently impeded by her busy schedule. It felt like there weren't enough hours in the day to get everything done between work, caring for the kids, attending their classes, grocery shopping, and other responsibilities. Jane, though, was committed to figuring out how to strike a balance. She was aware that disarray and clutter only made her already stressful life even more stressful. Jane employed the following techniques to manage her busy schedule and keep up with housework. Prioritize tasks. Jane started by setting priorities for her tasks. She compiled a list of everything that needed to get done every day, every week, and every month. She then assigned them a priority ranking. For instance, Jane's large family and the tendency for dirty clothes to pile up meant that doing laundry every third day was a top concern. Dusting, however, could wait until the end of the week. Jane was able to prioritize her activities and concentrate on the urgent chores without being distracted by the other things that needed attention. Multitask when possible. When it was possible, Jane also discovered ways to multitask. She would utilize those few minutes, for instance, to fold some laundry or quickly clean the kitchen countertops while dinner was cooking in the oven. As she finished her assignments, she urged her family members to help out around the house. Her children helped put away their dishes and load and unload the dishwasher after meals. Jane rewarded her kids with modest indulgences, like going out for ice cream at the end of the week as part of a reward system. That gave them the motivation to finish the dishes. Break tasks into smaller tasks. Jane divided jobs into smaller ones, rather than attempting to clean an entire area at once. For instance, she would spend 10 minutes a day washing down the counters, cleaning the toilet, or scrubbing the shower rather than completely cleaning the bathroom at once. Jane discovered that by putting these strategies into practice, she was improving her ability to keep her home tidy. She did, however, occasionally let her hectic schedule get the better of her and neglected household chores. At that point, she discovered the 10-minute tidy up, a revolutionary method that allowed her to remain on top of domestic chores without becoming overwhelmed. Chapter 4. The benefits. The 10-minute tidy-up is a straightforward idea. You set a timer for 10 minutes, and during that time, you concentrate on finishing as many little cleaning jobs as you can. The goal is to avoid mess and clutter by doing this at least once a day. Furthermore, Jane wants to be able to unwind on the weekends as well. As Jane included the 10-minute tidy-up into her daily schedule, she saw this directly. She observed that working in a tidy and orderly environment made her mind feel clearer and more concentrated, in addition to helping her remain on top of housework. However, speedy cleaning techniques have other advantages. Long-term time savings can also be achieved by consistently doing little cleaning jobs. Jane discovered that she spent less time cleaning in general by taking care of spills and debris before they became unmanageable. The sensation of accomplishment that comes from speedy cleaning regimens is another advantage. You can feel productive and motivated to take on bigger jobs by just doing a few little ones. But it's crucial to keep in mind that superficial cleaning is not meant to take the place of thorough cleaning. They are merely a means to keep your house neat and organized in between deep cleanings. For instance, Jane always put her recently used shoes back where they belonged when she returned home, or she would simply put her dirty dishes in the dishwasher after each use rather than piling them up in the sink, or she would always put her clothes inside the laundry basket after each use rather than picking them up off the floor because she couldn't feel the carpet beneath it. Jane has always understood that she feels better when her home is tidy and well organized. However, it wasn't until she began putting short cleaning routines into practice that she realized the psychological and emotional advantages of keeping her home organized. Decreased stress and anxiety. Stress and anxiety can be exacerbated by an untidy and cluttered environment. Research has demonstrated that mental clutter can result from physical clutter in our environment, making it challenging to concentrate and think effectively. Jane discovered that her mind felt more at peace and calmer in a neat and organized place, so she started doing simple cleaning routines daily. Enhanced productivity. It can be challenging to maintain concentration on the work at hand when our environment is hectic. Jane discovered that she could be more productive without interruptions or distractions from clutter if she kept her home neat and organized. Better mood. Jane observed that entering a tidy and organized area made her feel better. While a clean home might give us a sense of peace and control, a messy one can make us feel overwhelmed. Jane found that daily simple cleaning tasks improved her mood and sense of general well-being. A sense of accomplishment. Finishing even little chores like fast cleaning procedures can make us feel accomplished. This sense of accomplishment can increase motivation and self-worth, giving us the confidence to take on more challenging tasks in other spheres of our lives. Better sleep. It can be hard to unwind at night when there's clutter in the living room or bedroom. By keeping these spaces clean with regular quick cleaning routines, Jane noticed that she slept better at night without the distraction of mess or clutter. More time for enjoyment. Jane discovered that she had more time to do things she enjoyed, including spending time with family, engaging in a hobby, or just relaxing and unwinding, since she was spending less time deep cleaning or handling large messes. Pen in hand, Jane took a seat and wrote down every fast cleaning chore that came to mind. Despite her hectic schedule, she was committed to making this work. Ultimately, she had to figure out how to maintain a tidy and orderly home without giving up valuable family or work time, or needing to spend hours cleaning. Chapter 5. Here's how Jane did it: the planning. Although Jane wasn't sure she would enjoy doing short cleaning tasks every day, she made the decision to give it a shot. She was astounded to see the impact it had on her life and her house after starting with just 10 minutes a day. The following explains why the magic of 10 minutes can work wonders when it comes to organizing and cleaning. You can handle it. For busy women like Jane, taking on a big cleaning or organizing endeavor might feel overwhelming and demoralizing. However, it's far more manageable if you set aside just 10 minutes a day. Even with the busiest schedules, this little period of time can be accommodated. Consistency is key. To keep your home tidy and organized, consistency is essential. Jane was able to maintain her daily cleaning schedule, despite only having 10 minutes to spare. This kept messes from getting out of control and helped her keep her house tidy. Focus on one area at a time. Attempting to tidy her entire apartment at once was intimidating and frequently resulted in incomplete tasks or ignoring specific areas completely. Quick cleaning routines are great since they allow her to concentrate on a single area every day, which makes it simpler to keep things tidy and orderly. No more procrastination. There's no place for justifications or procrastination when you just have 10 minutes each day to clean. Jane could find 10 minutes before bed or in between chores to finish a fast cleaning regimen, even on her busiest days. It adds up fast. Jane was taken aback by how much she could accomplish in 10 minutes. These little changes add up over time to significantly improve her home's general organization and cleanliness. Jane always took great satisfaction in her ability to be ready for anything. She thus had a propensity to stock her home with an extensive assortment of materials and equipment in case she needed them. But when it came to cleaning and tidying up, she realized that having the right supplies on hand was crucial. Chapter 6. Here's how Jane did it, creating your Tidy Up Toolkit. Jane decided to put together her own 10-minute Tidy Up Toolkit, a selection of necessary supplies that would enable her to quickly tackle any mess. Jane found that most of the goods she needed for her toolkit were already in her house as she started to assemble them. All she had to do was compile them into one location and arrange them so they were easily accessible. She started her list with cleaning supplies. Jane discovered that a few standard products could handle the majority of cleaning duties, despite the market being flooded with specialty cleansers. Among her must-haves were multi-purpose cleaner with several uses and a sanitized mist. This adaptable mixture works well on a range of surfaces, including kitchen countertops, cabinetry, and appliances. Rather than making separate product purchases for each region, Jane concentrated on purchasing a single item that could be used for several purposes. This not only helped her save money, but it also cleared up clutter in a cleaning storage unit. Glass cleaner, for mirrors and windows free of streaks. Cleaner for the floors. Select a cleaner made especially for your type of flooring, whether it's tile, carpet, or hardwood. The floor of the bathroom can also be cleaned using this cleanser. Sponges and towels came next. For dusting and washing down surfaces, Jane liked to use microfiber cloths, but she also carried a few paper towels that she could throw away. As for sponges, she made sure to have a mix of scrubbing sponges for tougher messes and regular sponges for everyday use. A high-quality vacuum or broom was another necessary piece in Jane's toolbox. Keeping the flooring clean was essential to keeping the house neat overall. She also made sure to keep a broom and vacuum handy, because her apartment had both carpets and hard flooring. Moreover, a bucket was required for moving cleaning goods across the house and wiping floors. Jane decided on a little bucket that would be convenient to keep when not in use. It was important to always have an absorbent towel or rag nearby for little spills or accidents. Jane took care to maintain a pile of used rags or towels set aside just for cleaning. Finally, Jane could not overlook the significance of wearing protective gear when cleaning. She always kept rubber gloves, an apron, and a dust mask on hand to protect her skin to ensure she didn't breathe in anything toxic. While Jen gathered everything that was required, she went a step further to ensure she was productive and efficient in what she did. While Jen made sure she had everything she needed, she also went above and above to make sure she completed her tasks quickly and effectively. Jane organized and facilitated quick access to her belongings by grouping related items into storage containers. For instance, store sponges in one container, all wipes or microfiber cloths in another, and so forth. She then tagged each storage container to indicate what was inside. Jane could now find what she wanted more quickly, and without having to open many containers thanks to this. She sets aside a particular space in her residence to keep her cleaning supplies. This might be a shelf in your laundry room, a cabinet, or a closet. She also made a note to restock supplies, so I would always have everything she needed. By following these tips, Jane was able to create an organized and efficient 10-minute tidy-up toolkit that helped her conquer messes in record time. With everything she needed at her fingertips, Jane no longer dreaded cleaning and could maintain a tidy home with ease. Chapter 7. Here's how Jane did it, creating a cleaning schedule. Jane understood she needed to set up a regular cleaning program to keep her home orderly after using her 10-minute tidy-up toolkit and creating a designated cleaning zone. Setting up a cleaning routine enables Jane to divide chores into manageable portions and avoids the overwhelming sense of attempting to do everything at once. It also helps to keep Jane's home constantly clean and clutter-free. Jane started by compiling a list of all the household chores that needed to be completed, including cleaning the bathrooms, vacuuming, dusting, and doing laundry. Subsequently, she scheduled each task for a certain day or time on her calendar. Jane discovered that grouping similar jobs was a useful idea. She would set aside a day, for instance, to complete all laundry-related chores, including washing, drying, and folding. She was able to avoid bouncing between tasks and save time by doing this. Jane also made sure that her schedule included frequent deep cleanings. While they weren't as urgent, these chores were nevertheless necessary to keep the house tidy and hygienic. Cleaning out the pantry or refrigerator, organizing cabinets or closets, and dusting baseboards and ceiling fans are a few examples of these chores. When creating her plan, Jane considered the usual schedules and routines of her family. This made sure that nobody felt overburdened or overworked, while yet contributing to keeping the house clean. Jane also realized that the goal of making a cleaning schedule is to discover a routine that works for her and her home, not to achieve perfection. Finally, she made care to leave some leeway in her itinerary. She might not always be able to keep to her cleaning schedule since life happens. Chapter 8. Here's how Jane did it: Daily Planner and Scheduling. Jane's scheduling has always been a little out of control. She would frequently double book herself or forget appointments, which added needless stress and turmoil to her life. But after putting the 10-minute cleaning regimen into practice, she saw that her daily schedule needed to be just as organized. At that point, she made the decision to get a daily planner. She was initially reluctant to invest money in something that appeared to be easily replaceable with a smartphone app. But after just a few weeks of use, she realized how useful having a physical planner was. She cherished having a single location to record all of her appointments, assignments, and significant dates. It offered her a sense of control over her calendar and assisted her in staying on top of her obligations. But the most surprising benefit of using a daily planner was how much better time management became second nature to her. By listing all the tasks she needed to accomplish each day, she was able to prioritize them and set realistic targets for her level of performance. By making a daily routine, Jane was able to stay focused and productive instead of becoming overwhelmed by her ever-growing to-do list. She would look over her planner at the end of the day and be happy with everything she had managed. She also began scheduling little self-care activities, like stretching or reading a book during the day in her daily schedule. This served to both break up her work week and serve as a helpful reminder for her to prioritize self-care despite her hectic schedule. Jane noticed that as she continued utilizing her daily planner, she felt more at ease and in charge of her life overall, in addition to being more efficient and organized with her time. Rather than becoming upset or anxious when unexpected chores or occasions came up, Jane just checked her calendar and made the necessary adjustments. It became a necessary tool in her daily life, and she was unable to imagine living without it. Chapter 9. Here's how Jane did it: The morning routine. The following morning, Jane felt refreshed and prepared to face the day. She headed to the kitchen and started her 10-minute cleaning schedule. She started by washing and putting away any dishes that had been left in the sink the previous evening. She swiftly swept the floor and cleaned the counters. She proceeded to her bedroom after that. She straightened any clothes or objects on the floor, made her bed, and pulled open the curtains to allow in some fresh air. Jane noticed how much more tranquil and pleasurable her morning was becoming as she completed each activity. She felt a feeling of order and achievement by finishing these little chores first thing in the morning, and it spilled over into other aspects of her life. She cleaned up the living area and put away any misplaced objects to complete her 10-minute schedule. She was surprised at how much better she felt about starting her day when she sat down to breakfast. Jane developed the daily habit of starting her day with this 10-minute cleaning schedule after that. It not only helped her house feel more pleasant and orderly, but it also allowed her mind to relax. Making the bed, the simple task with a big impact. Jane used to believe that there was no purpose to making the bed. You're simply going to screw it up again at night, so why even bother? However, she made the decision to give it a shot after learning about the advantages of this easy task. She was shocked to learn that, contrary to her expectations, making her bed every morning had a far greater influence on her life. When the bed was made, Jane noticed right away how much more appealing her bedroom looked. Her room often looked messy and disorganized, since she would often leave pillows and crumpled linens laying around. But her bedroom suddenly appeared tidy and put together because she took a few minutes each morning to fluff the pillows, fix the blankets, and level out the bedding. There was a certain peace and tranquility that came with entering a hotel room each night. Not only did it make her bedroom look better, but making the bed also had a sudden impact on Jane's mindset. She found that starting her day by completing this small task gave her a sense of accomplishment and motivation to tackle other tasks throughout the day. It also helped set a positive tone for the day ahead. Instead of waking up feeling overwhelmed by all that needed to be done, seeing her neatly made bed reminded Jane to approach each task with intention and focus. As Jane continued making her bed each morning, she began to see it as more than just a chore. It became an act of self-care. Taking these few moments in the morning to tend to her sleeping space felt like she was creating a peaceful sanctuary for herself. And coming home after a long day of work to a made bed gave her an immediate sense of comfort and relaxation. It also served as a reminder to prioritize self-care in other areas of her life. Kitchen, a place to create memories. A kitchen serves as more than just a location to prepare food for consumption for a lot of people. It is the place where families get together, share meals, and form lifelong memories. That being said, the kitchen may easily get disorganized and crowded with all of this activity. She noticed a significant improvement in her day when she made an effort to organize this crucial area every morning. Efficiency stands to gain much from maintaining a spotless kitchen. Meal preparation is considerably faster and easier when everything has a specific spot. She was able to plan based on the ingredients she had on hand by keeping her pantry and refrigerator organized. She could work with more room on the countertops and save time by not having to spend it looking for tools or utensils. A calmer atmosphere is also produced by a clean kitchen. Stress and anxiety can be triggered by seeing piles of dirty dishes in the sink or clutter on the counters. Nonetheless, a fresh start on Jane's day can promote serenity in her household. This is particularly crucial if she planned to have a hectic morning running out to pick up the kids from school or get ready for work. Healthy habits are also encouraged by a clean kitchen. When everything is arranged and conveniently located, Jane is more likely to choose nutritious options for meals and snacks. Cleaning up after yourself in the kitchen can also be a challenge when it comes to food safety. She lessened the possibility of bacteria spreading across the kitchen, creating a secure space for her kids by keeping worktops clean and often washing off surfaces. The kitchen is also more welcoming to family and guests when it is tidy and well organized. With her kitchen neat, she felt more at ease entertaining or receiving surprise visits from family members. Not only that, but maintaining a spotless place over time was made easier when Jane maintained her area tidy on a daily basis. Chapter 10. Here's how Jane did it. Midday refresh, energizing your space. By now, Jane had completed her 10-minute tidy up, and it was already mid-afternoon. Feeling satisfied with her rapid development, she took a quick look around her apartment. She became aware that several areas still required care when she took a closer look. The bathroom required a fast clean, the kitchen countertops desperately needed organizing, and the living room was overflowing with toys and books. Jane decided to take a short break and finish these chores swiftly before going back to her day. To begin, she went about the living room gathering random objects and putting them in a washing basket. She then swiftly cleaned the bathroom counters with some cleaning wipes that she had taken out. Jane went to the kitchen, motivated, and threw away everything that wasn't absolutely necessary off the counter. The doorway and hallway, which see a lot of activity, were the next areas she thoroughly cleaned before leaving. As people enter and exit the house during the day, these spaces frequently collect dust. After grabbing another basket, Jane went through these sections, hanging up coats, shoving away shoes, and discarding trash mail. She brought calmness to her bustling home in a little 15 minutes. Jane realized that cleaning didn't have to take hours, nor that she had to wait until everything got out of control before taking action, as she relaxed and enjoyed her spotless surroundings. She mentally jotted down these easy cleaning tricks to add to her daily schedule so she could keep her house clean without getting stressed out. Jane went about her day feeling motivated and full of energy, pleased with the progress she had made in a short period of time. Jane started concentrating on particular trouble spots in her house as she proceeded to fit her lunchtime short cleaning regimen into her daily schedule. These were the places that saw a lot of traffic and frequent litter buildup, where filth and clutter might easily gather. Jane discovered that by spending a little more time on these areas during her lunchtime refresh, she was able to keep her home generally cleaner and more organized. Here are some tips for tackling these problematic spots. Entryway. Since Jane's entrance is frequently the first thing guests see when they arrive at her house, it must always be tidy and uncluttered. Spend a few minutes each day organizing your bags, coats, and shoes. To catch dirt and debris from the outside, use a doormat or rug, then vacuum or sweep this area frequently. Bathroom. The overall cleanliness of Jane's house can be greatly improved by keeping the bathroom tidy. Every day, set aside some time to clean surfaces, sanitize commonly touched places such as doorknobs and faucets, and quickly arrange any toiletries or towels that may have fallen on the floor. Living room. Since the living room is where many people spend the most of their time at home, clutter tends to gather there quickly. Vacuum any apparent dirt or debris, fluff pillows and cushions, and tidy surfaces like coffee tables and end tables for 10 to 15 minutes per day. By focusing on these high-traffic areas during her midday refresh, Jane was able to maintain a cleaner and more organized home without feeling overwhelmed. Chapter 11. Here's how Jane did it. Evening wind down, preparing for relaxation. As the golden sun slowly sank below the horizon and the day began to wind down, Jane decided to incorporate the 10-minute tidy up into her evening routine. She put everything back in its right position and straightened up as she went through each room of her apartment, setting a timer for 10 minutes. Jane noticed that her living area was becoming less and less cluttered as she carried out the 10-minute tidy up every day. However, she also understood that cleaning up didn't only mean getting rid of tangible clutter, it also meant bringing calm and tranquility into her house. She then cleaned up any leftover dirt from the day, such as toys strewn all over the living room or dirty dishes in the sink. She discovered that she could create a calm environment where she could rest and unwind by setting aside a short amount of time each evening to tidy and reset her living areas. Jane, though, didn't stop there. She also started rearranging the furnishings in each room to enhance comfort and flow. This might be as easy as rearranging furniture to create an additional room, or as simple as putting a chair closer to a window to improve natural light. As Jane kept up these simple yet meaningful activities every night, she became much more aware of her feelings when she was at her apartment. She no longer felt anxious or overpowered by the mess. Instead, her tidy and orderly surroundings made her feel at ease and satisfied. But this new routine's positive effect on her mental health was maybe its most satisfying aspect. Day by day, Jane discovered that creating welcoming and cozy living areas contributed to her sense of well-being and helped lower her stress levels. Jane knew that she was able to go to her clean apartment for much-needed peace of mind, even on days when everything else seemed hectic or heavy. Jane eventually developed a second-nature pattern for doing her nightly tidying. That became a soothing and fulfilling practice that assisted her instead of feeling like a duty. Jane started to realize that her nightly tidy-up ritual wasn't just about making a calm and clutter-free environment. It was also about starting the next day efficiently and stress-free. In light of this, Jane began adding a few more chores to her nightly schedule in order to get ready for the following day. Her first action was to arrange her clothes for the next day. She not only saved time in the morning, but also felt more put together and self-assured all day long. Jane then began to prepare snacks or lunches for her family and herself, as needed. She didn't have to rush or worry about what to eat in the morning, because she had done this the night before. To ensure she wouldn't forget anything in the chaos of getting ready, Jane also found it useful to gather any supplies she would need for work or school and set them by the door. Jane saw a significant improvement in the ease and stress-freeness of her mornings, as she continued to complete these little but significant things every evening. She had more time and mental energy to begin her day on a positive note, because she was no longer stressed about rushing to make lunches or choosing an attire. Beyond its practical advantages, though, Jane experienced an unexpected emotional reaction to her new regimen. She felt more organized and in charge of her day by completing these chores in advance. She felt cool and collected as she began her day, instead of stressed or rushing in the mornings. Furthermore, Jane discovered that by preparing herself for success every night, she could make wiser choices during the day. Little chores didn't cause her as much worry or distress, because they had already been completed. This made it easier and more efficient for her to concentrate on bigger projects and responsibilities. Because of her sense of preparation and organization from her evening routine, Jane felt more prepared to tackle any unanticipated challenges that arose during the day. Jane lit some candles and curled up with a book on the couch, content with her little victory. She couldn't help but feel grateful for the small pleasure of having a tidy and orderly home, as she relaxed in her comfortable surroundings. Jane felt refreshed and prepared to tackle yet another hectic day when she awoke the following morning. She observed that everything remained organized from her 10-minute tidy-up effort the previous evening as she strolled through her flat. She grinned, knowing that she could keep her home tidy and peaceful if she routinely included this easy exercise into her evenings. Jane made it a point to tidy up before going to bed every night after that. She felt more accomplished at the end of each day, and it also contributed to a calmer environment at home. Though Jane might never be able to get rid of all the clutter in her life, she had managed to manage it and prevent it from taking over her life by setting aside 10 minutes every day. Chapter 12. Here's how Jane did it. Weekend warrior deeper cleaning in short bursts. On Saturday morning, Jane felt determined when she got up. She was going to take on the serious cleaning chores that had been bothering her for weeks this coming weekend. With a notepad in hand, she made herself a cup of coffee and settled in to devise a plan. The restroom was the most dreaded place on the list. It required some significant treatment because it had been ignored for much too long. However, Jane chose to divide it up into smaller assignments spaced out throughout the weekend, rather than attempting to finish it all at once. She scoured the shower and bathtub tiles on Saturday morning while she waited for her coffee to brew. Then she cleaned the sink and countertops while watching her favorite show between commercial breaks. By Sunday afternoon, she had even managed to clean out the medicine cabinet while waiting for her laundry to finish. The bedroom was next on the list. Although Jane understood this would take more time and work, she didn't want to spend her whole weekend on it. She thus broke it up into smaller assignments as well. One day was set aside for cleaning her closet, another for sweeping and dusting, and a final evening was set apart for replacing the bed linens and turning the mattress. Jane was able to finish these bigger jobs over the weekend without being overburdened or having to give up all of her free time by dividing them down into smaller time slots. She also felt restored and revitalized by Sunday night, which made it simpler for her to keep her flat tidy during the hectic workdays. Jane's new approach quickly became a routine for weekends, tackling one or two larger cleaning tasks at a time in between fun activities or downtime. It's amazing how much Jane could accomplish with just 10 to 15 minutes here and there, Jane thought, as she settled onto her freshly made bed that Sunday night. And now I can truly relax, knowing that my home is clean and organized. Chapter 13. Here's how Jane did it, prioritizing tasks for a successful weekend cleaning routine. Jane was determined to stick to her new cleaning schedule after her successful weekend of doing quick cleaning sessions. She realized that her house still required some extra care in a few spots as she surveyed it. Making the most of her time, she resolved to prioritize her tasks for her upcoming weekend cleaning session. To start, Jane wrote down every place in her house that required cleaning. She proceeded to categorize them into 3 groups: high, medium, and low priority. The living room needed to be organized and decluttered, the bathroom needed to be scrubbed down, and the kitchen needed to be thoroughly cleaned. These were things that were to be attended to right now, because they would significantly affect how clean her home was. Dusting and vacuuming the bedrooms, cleaning the dining room surfaces, and mopping the entire floor were among the medium priority chores. While these were significant duties, they could be completed without feeling pressured over the course of the weekend. Window washing, closet cleaning, and storage space reorganization were low-priority jobs. These chores could wait until Jane had more free time, even though they were necessary to keep her home tidy and orderly in the long run. Jane began by focusing on her top priorities and working on them first. With a cup of coffee in hand, she took an hour on Saturday morning to thoroughly clean her kitchen. Later in the day, in between errands, she proceeded to organize and declutter her living area. Jane spent an additional hour cleaning her bathroom on Sunday morning before starting on medium priority chores like vacuuming and dusting the bedrooms. She accomplished her goals for the weekend by breaking up the bigger jobs into manageable portions so she wouldn't feel overburdened or compelled to spend too much time on one thing. By Sunday evening, Jane had finished everything on her list that was high and medium priority, and she still had some leisure time. Chapter 14. Here's how Jane did it, Workday Warrior. Jane realized how much she had done with just a few quick cleaning sessions throughout the day as she got ready for bed at the end of the day. She knew that having a tidy and orderly home improved her mood and general state of well-being, therefore she was proud of it. Jane couldn't help but ponder how she could keep her house clean without needing to dedicate hours to cleaning as she got ready for bed. She mentally noted that she would include quick cleaning tricks into her everyday routine. Jane felt refreshed and prepared to face the day when she woke up the following morning. Making her bed was the first thing she did. It was something she had never done before. Her bedroom appeared much more organized and clean as she fluffed the cushions and straightened the bedding. Jane completed a few modest things and felt a sense of success before leaving for work. She hurriedly washed down the countertops and gathered up any breakfast dishes that remained in the sink. She also spent a minute putting away any mess from the previous night. Jane realized that in order to swiftly tidy her desk during the workday, she needed to take little breaks every hour or two. She arranged some papers neatly and cleared her desk to make her workstation clutter-free, which allowed her to work more efficiently. Jane went to the grocery shop after work before returning home. She took advantage of the time while dinner was cooking in the oven to quickly clean up any stray items and organize the surfaces in the living room. Jane discovered that she could keep her home tidy and orderly without being overwhelmed by adopting these short cleaning routines into her daily schedule. Jane saw that she needed to take short breaks every hour or so to quickly straighten up her workspace during the workday. She was able to work more productively because she kept her workspace tidy and clutter-free, whether it was by organizing some papers or cleaning off her desk. Declutter surfaces. After work, Jane headed to the grocery store and then back home. She organized the surfaces in the living room and swiftly cleaned up any stray items while dinner was cooking in the oven. By incorporating these quick cleaning routines into her daily schedule, Jane found that she could maintain her home neat and organized without feeling overwhelmed. Vacuum high-traffic areas. Jane focused her efforts on vacuuming the high-traffic areas of her home, which included the entryways, hallways, and living rooms. Jane discovered that giving the floors a quick vacuum in the middle of the day kept the floors looking clean and fresh, as dirt and debris build up in these areas quickly. Wipe down frequently touched surfaces. Quickly clean off commonly handled objects, such as light switches, door handles, and remote controls, with disinfectant wipes or microfiber towels. This will help maintain a clean and hygienic environment and lessen the spread of germs. Freshen up the air. Jane opened the windows to allow in daylight and fresh air. She also utilized an essential oil diffuser and room spray to provide her house with a lovely aroma. Her attitude was instantly lifted by the cool air, which also made her home feel cozier. Chapter 15. Breaking bad habits and establishing new ones. To maintain a clean living space throughout the week, Jane knew she needed to break these bad habits and establish new ones. By doing so, she could ensure that her home stayed cleaner for longer periods. Recognizing one's negative habits is the first step towards breaking them. This required Jane to stand back from her regular routine and identify any places where she could be more efficient or structured. She soon discovered that keeping dishes in the sink all night was not only making the kitchen seem filthy, but it was also releasing foul odors. Likewise, she was causing needless clutter in her bedroom by failing to fold and store her laundry. Jane realized that in order to keep her living area clean, she had to quit these negative habits. Although it's not simple, breaking bad habits can be accomplished with effort and determination. For Jane, it was critical to swap out her negative behaviors for positive ones that would support her in keeping her house tidy. Jane made the decision to always do the dishes before going to bed, to avoid leaving them in the sink all night. In this manner, her kitchen remained spotless when she got up each morning, and there were never any dishes left over after the day. Jane set aside particular days of the week to do laundry, that is, to wash and fold clothes. She also tried to avoid leaving folded items on her dresser or bed by putting them away right away. It took some time and effort, but slowly these new habits became second nature. Chapter 16. Embracing the power of quick cleaning. With a newfound motivation and determination, Jane started incorporating the 10-minute tidy up into her daily routine. She found that by doing a little bit every day, she was able to stay on top of the clutter and maintain a clean and organized home. She also made sure to reward herself for staying consistent with her cleaning routine. Whether it was treating herself to a bubble bath or indulging in her favorite TV show after completing all her tasks for the day, these small rewards helped motivate her to keep going. Of course, there were days when life got busy and she couldn't stick to her schedule perfectly. But instead of getting discouraged, Jane reminded herself that even just 10 minutes of tidying up can make a big difference in maintaining an organized home. As time went on, she found that the more consistently she stuck to her cleaning routine, the less overwhelming it became. No longer did she dread coming home to a messy apartment because everything was already under control. Jane understood that progress is more important than perfection. She knew that her home did not have to be always perfect. It's okay to have a little bit of clutter or mess from time to time. Instead of striving for perfection, she focused on making small but consistent improvements. The 10-minute tidy-up technique is a great tool for this. Just 10 minutes a day can make a big difference in maintaining an organized home. Jane made sure to involve her family in the process. Cleaning and organizing should not be solely her responsibility. Her superpower was that she got everyone in her household on board with keeping the home tidy and decluttered. She assigned age-appropriate tasks to her children and shared household chores with her partner. Another important aspect Jane created was an organized home, setting aside designated spaces for everything. This not only helped Jane keep her belongings organized, but also made it easier for her to find things when she needed them. As Jane continued her cleaning journey, she learned to let go of perfectionism when it came to maintaining her home. She realized that while having an organized space is important, it doesn't have to be perfect all the time. There will always be days when things get messy or disorganized, but that's okay. What matters is making consistent efforts toward keeping things in order. This mindset shift helped Jane become gentler with herself when it came to maintaining her home. Instead of feeling guilty about not being able to have a perfectly clean home at all times, she celebrated even the smallest achievements. Jane's eyes lit up as she discovered the transformative power of the 10-minute tidy-up method. With just a few minutes each day, she was able to maintain a clean and organized home. Gone were the days of overwhelm and stress caused by endless cleaning tasks. Instead, Jane found joy and satisfaction in her daily tidying routine. As she looked around her pristine living space, she couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment and contentment. She kicked her feet up and raised her glass in a toast to all those who have embarked on their journey towards a clutter-free life. Here's to happier, more efficient cleaning routines, and the happier, more organized homes that come with them. Thank you for listening to our book. Happy cleaning. Thank you for joining us today. For more books by Rohanthy, be sure to explore our website at www.bellybees.com, where you'll find not only our collection of captivating stories, but also a range of creative products designed for the whole family. You can also browse our books on Amazon to discover a variety of genres, including heartwarming romance, intriguing mysteries, and action-packed espionage novels that are sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. Looking for your next favorite read? Whether you're in the mood for a touching love story, a spine-tingling mystery, or an exciting adventure full of twists and turns, we have something for every book lover. Dive into worlds filled with unforgettable characters and breathtaking plots that will keep you turning pages long into the night. To stay up to date with the latest book releases, sneak peeks, and special promotions, don't forget to follow us on social media at Rohanthy. Join our community of readers for behind-the-scenes insights, exclusive giveaways, and much more. Thank you for your support, and we can't wait to share more incredible stories with you. Happy reading, and see you in the next adventure.